Welcome to the Strong Casuals. My name is Ben. I'm here with Anthony and the Chord King, Eric. We are joined tonight by the one, the only James Jeffers, coming in from Canada. How are things in Canada right now?
Well, right now it's pretty cold. We're getting actually a blizzard starting tonight, and it's about minus 33 degrees right now. So
Oh,
we're supposed to get
Jesus.
40 centimeters of snow, which is uh,
Yeah,
just a little under 20 inches or something like that.
Oh
So it's
my
supposed to be
God.
bad.
dear
Oh
Lord.
my
Cold.
God. We're dealing with
Yeah,
20 degrees right now in Wisconsin. So we're like, it's pretty bitter, but we're like used to it. Negative 30 right now would actually, that's a problem. That's a problem, Gene.
yeah. When I was down in Wisconsin, it was like warm.
Yeah.
Everyone was all bundled up. I'm like,
Right.
this is actually pretty nice.
Throw shorts on and go to the beach or something.
Yeah, literally. That's
Yeah. We claim to be okay with the cold in Wisconsin, but you guys actually have the cold, like
Yeah,
capital T,
yeah.
the cold.
Yeah. How far north are you in Canada, James?
I'm about right in the middle of Canada. So, like this year, I did the Shaw Classic, and it's 12 hours directly north of Colorado. So that's
Okay.
kind of
Sweet.
where we are. Yeah, right in the middle of Canada, kind of thing.
Okay. Far enough north for it to be negative 33 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
certainly far enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So most recently, obviously, official strongman games, but we would like to start go way back, just to start or look at your beginning, like what got you into strongman as a sport.
I kind of came onto the sport by luck. I never really watched it on TV growing up or anything. No one I knew was in it. There was just a local competition in Saskatoon, which is about 2.5 hours away from me. And it just came up on Facebook, and it was like, oh, hey, this is a strongman competition. I didn't know what it was, never even knew what the events were. And I was like, oh, I think I'm strong. Like I grew up on a farm doing chores, and I had two brothers. So it was kind of always a competition growing up. So I'm like, oh, let's see how it goes. I got like second last place, I think. So I got humbled pretty quickly, but from there on, I got the bug, and then that's when I started actually like going to the gym and training. Because prior to that, I didn't even like go to the gym to lift weights or anything. My hometown was so small, we didn't have a gym. And then in 2017, me and my wife got married, so I was doing like bodybuilding stuff to like look good, you know.
Get
And then so no weight training, no background, no nothing, and just started in 2018 was my first one, and never looked back really.
Sweet.
It's been 6 years since your very first comp then.
Yeah, that's right.
And how old were you in 2018 then, James?
I was born in 1992,
Okay.
so 26 or something like
Okay.
that. Yeah. And then from that competition on, there was just more local shows. I just kept competing. I competed about 8 or 9 times a year for the first, well,
Whew.
4 years really. Like I still actually, I think this year I did OSG was either my eighth or ninth again. So like I compete a lot, probably more than I should, but
Hey, that's where the fun is, right?
It is.
It looks like 2022 was a big year for you in the.
Yeah, 2022 and even like 2021 is kind of what kickstarted. So in Canada, we had like the amateur circuit, and then in 2021 nationals, I won amateur nationals, which qualified me for the pro circuit that JF runs in Canada.
Yeah.
So yeah, the tail end of 2021 is kind of where I really started to make big progress and take things more seriously, because that qualified me for the Arnold Amateur the following year. So yeah, that's kind of where things got serious, I would say, is in 2021.
Sweet.
I mean, what do you think got you? How do you think you progressed so quickly from? I mean, what do you think is your attitude? Do you think it's your work ethic?
I guess like by trade, I'm a industrial mechanic. So like always on the tools, always working physical labor jobs. So that kind of did help me in the strongman. Definitely with like my grip. I mean, it's just a stereotype that Canadians have good grip, and it does hold true.
It's a very true stereotype.
It's being proven every month.
Yeah.
Now, so.
And then I don't know, just constantly trying to be better than I was previously. Like I mean, when I first started, I never once thought like, hey, I'm going to be at World's Strongest Man. I never thought it was kind of a pipe dream. But as you make little goals and you compete once, you get a little bit better. The next competition, you get a little bit better. Work on your weaknesses, and it's just that steady progression that just keeps me hooked. It keeps me loving the sport because if I can continuously get better, then why stop?
Right. I mean, being in Canada, I'm sure when you started in 2018, was there already like a strength gym that you could go to? Were you working out at home? Did you already have a group of guys you were working out with regularly?
Yeah. So my main place I train is like at my local Snap Fitness in Moose Jaw, and it's just where I do my basic lifts, and then my strongman gym is called Metal in Regina. So it's about a 45-minute drive one way. And when I'm in comp prep, I'll go there twice a week typically. And throughout the years, I've been getting pieces of equipment myself. I got deadlift bar, yokes, logs, stones, but I got nowhere to use them because I don't have a garage. I have a big backyard and a big parking lot behind me, but it's just kind of a real pain in the butt loading
Yeah.
everything up all the time. And then I'm by myself in Moose Jaw. Like I don't have training partners here. It's just me and my wife. I would go to the gym. So that part's been difficult for the past, well, I've lived here like 10 years. So, but the strength community that we have at the Strongman gym in Regina is great. There's some really good people out of that gym. That have done really well. And sometimes we've prepped for the same competition, so it's been easy that way. But I do wish that I had more people in my little hometown. But it's getting more popular for sure. It's just kind of hard to get it out. So I would like to eventually host my own little like introduction to strongman in my hometown because I think there's a lot of young kids that could definitely do it. Like I see them in the gym and they're squatting pretty good numbers. So to try and get them over to strongman, maybe that's what I'm working on.
Yeah. Do you have any like do you have any what am I looking for? Just like do you want to open a gym? Like would it be cool to open a strength gym in your little small town? Is that like a goal of yours or
It has been a goal for a while. It's just it's difficult, but even if it's something just small enough for me to train all year round, because I mean, going to Regina twice a week, every week for years, it definitely it takes the time away from my day because I work a 10-hour day job. So it's something that I would like to do in the future. It's such a niche sport for sure. And to try and get that in Moose Jaw, I think might be difficult. But if I can, just keep getting better myself, and as my career progresses, maybe that's something that I could kind of help market that. Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of what we're hoping to do to a point too, is bring more people in as much as possible. I know that you did make your own circus dumbbell though, didn't you?
Yeah, actually, I have made a few circus dumbbells actually for an event that I don't really like and I'm not good at it. I think I've made 4 or 5 different circus dumbbells, like globes, plate loadable globes. I made one for Mel that's like a pink Barbie one that she used for her Arnold prep. So
nice.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people who reach out to me asking to make them. It's the material has went up in price and the time to do it is kind of hard to come by, but yeah.
Still very cool though. I mean, that's one thing we talked to a lot of people who like, because strongman is a bit of a niche sport, there's like a lot of room for you to make your own stuff. And a lot of guys end up, making their own yokes and their own.
making your own stuff is so cool. It's I mean, if you're going to do it, it's like, you're going for it. And obviously you can't say you're not, people can't tell you're not trying at circus dumbbell. You're like, Christ, you made 5 or 6 of the things. Like, seriously.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, like I've made my own log before too. Like when I first started, it was I don't know, probably like a 10-inch log or something. But just when you compete all around the places, you're not using the same equipment all the time. So just getting used to different pieces of equipment, it's never going to hurt you. So that's something that I do like seeing too, because you never know what you're going to get in competition. So
keeps you dynamic.
Yeah.
We also had a fellow Canadian, Eric Hussein, was on our podcast a while ago. So I saw that you guys have competed against each other at least a couple times in some grip events.
Yeah, he very, very strong for his size in grip sport and arm wrestling. He came out west a couple times to do, because he's on like the east side of Canada.
Oh, okay.
He came out west to do grip sport nationals, where I think I edged him out on that one, and then another one in in the spring, I think I edged him out on that one too. So it's definitely not easy to get ahead of him. But yeah, and then he does like he's huge in the grip sport in Canada,
Yeah.
and I think he just recently made like a recent top 10 in North America, and I'm glad I'm still on the list, even though I don't compete that much in grip sport, just because my main focus is strongman, and
Of course.
Yeah.
it's just kind of a byproduct of it. And everyone asks me too, like, oh, like, how do you build good grip? It's like, well, just do those small little grip competitions. Like, that's the only time I train specifically for grip is if I'm doing a show like that. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's like farm frames and stuff. But all those little intricate lifts and pinch and holds, like, it won't hurt you. So that's yeah.
You just get involved with grip sport like while you were doing strongman because it was just
Yep.
adjacent, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. I always think I had good grip, and it's kind of a bragging right.
It is,
if you
yeah.
got grip or not. So I do have a bunch of grip implements myself too, and it's just trying to incorporate that all year round because it's not hard on the body, and
Right.
it carries over big time.
Being the mechanic with the strongest grip in the shop. I mean, come on, that's the best. It's got to be the best.
Yeah, it's never. Hey James, grab this tiny little hammer. It's grab the 20-pound sledge and let's see what you got.
Yeah, dude. That's all you'd want to see. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So it looks like then in 2020, so 2022 you did the Arnold Amateurs, which I think you took 5th, right, in that one.
Yeah, the first time I did it, because I did the Arnold's twice. I think maybe 8th was the first time, I think, and then last time I did it, I got 5th. And that year, Oscar won, and Lucas Hatton was like 0.2 away from the win. So, but the year before that, I did beat Lucas, so I will never let him live that down.
Nice. There you go.
One time.
Well, that's all it takes.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Next Lucas Hatton, for Christ's sake. I mean, just take it. Absolutely.
Yeah,
so then, Western Canada's Strongest Man in 2023, that went well for you.
Yeah, 2023. In 2022, I lost by 1 point, and then 2023, I won it. And then this year, I came second by half a point to the same guy. So like, it's been me and Sean Hayes. We've been 1-2 back and forth for the past 3 years. So, yeah, I mean the level of competition coming up in Western Canada right now is a lot of guys don't know on the big scene, but I mean like Tristan Holt comes from the West, and he just had a real good breakout year, and he had a good opportunity, good showing at the Magnus and his SCL, and then 5th strongest man in the world. So the level of competitors in Western Canada and even Canada in general is definitely high. It's just we're not household names yet, and I think if we progress in the way we are, it's just a matter of time that I think we can get there.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to feel good. I mean, with the competition that you have around you at every competition, and you're half a point on paper, you're winning next year. You lost by half a point this year. It's like on paper, you're winning next year. It's got to feel good. Just, I mean, it could like Tristan, you just had a breakout year. It could simply be 1 or 2 competitions in a year that like you just really show up, and there's the potential of performers to come to any of your guys' competitions in Canada is super high for good competition. So.
Well, I mean, we've been referring to it as the like Canadian invasion. I mean, between like Hooper,
it's a serious problem. You guys need to stop. There's too many of you, and you're just every time we see a comp, it's like even when you go to the Giants Live and there's like 3 Canadians there, you're like, geez, that's even too many for Giants Live UK. What are we doing? These guys are just coming over and taking over.
Yeah, I mean, that was Worlds this year, but
has it always been that way? Like since 2018 when you started, like have you seen like Tristan and these guys like come up with you or?
Yeah, me and Tristan started the same year, 2018. Wes, he's been in it for a lot longer than the both of us. I think he's over like 12 years of strongman or at least in the gym training. And then before that, I guess it's pretty much just been JF for the past, he's won CSM for 9 years in a row. So it was kind of really hard for anyone to try and come in and get to that next level when he was in the way.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you couldn't beat JF, you're not going to get it to the next level. So the next wave of athletes are coming up, and I'm excited to see where it goes because we're just getting better and better. And like you said, this year there was 3 Canadians at Worlds, and all of them made the finals.
Yeah.
And Wes and Tristan was their first time there, so that's pretty good to see. And I mean, I talked to Colin Bryce at OSG, and I said, hey, I think they're condensing it next year with only 25 guys. But I said, you can have one Canadian in every group. That'd be great for TV.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
No, agreed. I mean,
They're condensing OSG to 25 next year,
No,
or
Worlds.
WSM.
So, like World Strongest Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So usually they have 30, but I guess next year they're condensing it to 25 guys. So
Yeah.
it'd be a little bit harder to get in, other than like Max, who already podium at a Giants, and then Hooper for sure, and then Tristan West just for their finish this year. We're assuming invites haven't went out, but we're just assuming there's already going to be 4 Canadians in there next year. So to have a 5th might be tough, but you never know, I guess.
Oh man, if there was a 5th of you guys there, that would be.
There would be.
There's so many. That'd be so many.
Yeah. Well, it'd be great because you have a showing. Do you think there's something about Canada and strength? Because I mean, like,
what's in the maple syrup, James? What the hell is going on?
Well, I honestly think like the way that JF runs the circuit up here, it sets us up in a good spot. Like you can compete almost every other weekend in the summer if you want. Like he has a circuit. It's mostly out in Quebec and out east, but you can compete as often as you want, really. And they're heavy. They're not light. So they right off the bat, like they set you up for these bigger shows. You're conditioned for them. Like CSM last year, or maybe 2 years ago, it was 3 days, 10 events outside in a rodeo ground.
Oh my God, yes.
700-pound squat for reps, max deadlift. Like they're very heavy events. And then the day after, JF said, hey, we're running another competition. If you guys want to do it, you can do it. So we did 16 events in 4 days.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
We were crippled. Like I shouldn't have done it. But I mean, to know that you can push yourself to that extreme, I mean, a five event competition one day, that's easy. So
I mean, well, that's you explained it, James. That's why Canada's doing what Canada's doing. I mean, it's like if Brian just threw strongest man on earth every 2 weeks, like for just for fun, like you guys can come bust ass every week if you really want to. And it's like OSG does a good job of stuff like that. But yeah, it's like JF's just, I mean, he's running it right. It seems like and the exposure. I mean, JF's name on everything is.
Well, and he's been in it for so long. I feel like he's probably got to have some like
all the connections.
Well, and just great wisdom to.
Oh, he does. Like when he's at OSG, he's so smart with points. Like he knew what the points were going to be before the sheet had it up, and I'm like, are you sure? Like that's where I'm sitting. He's like, no, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And and then he also does North America Strongest Man up here. This year there was a big team from the States that came up. So I'm excited to see who is going to come up from the USA, because the top 6 from CSM this year will be battling. I'm not sure how the invites exactly go out for the guys in the States. I think the Rainier Classic is partnered up with that. So it'd be cool to see who is coming from the US for that show next year.
Yeah, no, that is cool.
I've never even heard of it. Why have I not heard of North America's Strongest?
Yeah, last year Trey Mitchell won it.
Oh, okay.
Trey Mitchell won it. Lucas was second. Wes was third, I think. This year, Max won. Like Max destroyed it. He dominated it, and then Lucas was second. Tristan was third. So and then you got Bryce Johnson was there this year.
Oh, really?
Oh,
that's
Spencer
awesome.
Remick, Kevin Fair. So yeah, who's going to be there next year from the U.S. is pretty cool to see.
How many people are usually in that comp? Is that like 30? Around?
No, I think we did 16. I think.
Oh, okay.
You're like 8 and 8 kind of, or 6 and 6, 8 and 8 kind of. People drop out or whatever, and it's a gruesomely heavy show.
That's where it seems like that's where we're.
I know.
Headed.
I mean, us fans, we're just like, yes,
yes. I mean, yes, strongest man on earth is.
We apologize that you guys are broken, but this is beautiful to see. This is,
well,
and it just happened to be too the last 2 years that Canada's Strongest Man has been the week after Strongest Man on Earth / Shaw Classic. So we're coming in to see them just broken, but I mean, we all make it through it. None of us get seriously hurt. So
it's because you're Canadian.
It's because
it's gotta be.
It's the hooper thing.
Yeah, I mean, do you recover well? Do you like feel like you recover well, James, from comps?
Yeah, I do. Like if you're doing 16 events in 4
That's
days,
what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah.
come do this. Like OSG is not so bad. Like I personally do like ice baths and hot showers.
Okay, yeah.
I don't have a sauna, but if I did, I would definitely utilize that. And then the biggest thing that I overlooked when I first started was sleep and good quality sleep. So once I got a little bit heavier, I had to get a CPAP. And I mean, the night and day difference between using the CPAP and actually waking up and wow, like I feel rested. So that was a big thing for me, is actually getting good quality sleep.
I'm sure. I mean, for people who, don't need sleep like that, it's so valuable. Once you're in your upper 20s, literally, you're just like, I need sleep. It's so valuable.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't mean this to be like derogatory, but I feel like if you are in the strongman world, you need a CPAP.
I imagine everybody has CPAPs in the open weight.
And and it's not like it's just a reality of being.
It's just reality, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I'm trying to. You can't be giants like you guys are, and then like you have to breathe at night. It's just the reality.
Breathing is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, most recently we had OSG. We were there the whole time.
We were.
Sneaking around.
We
in the
were
back.
sneaky, just watching in the stands. But nobody saw us, James, but we were there.
But I thought the competition, as far as the structure, went great. Did you have thoughts about how the whole thing went?
Yeah, I mean, compared to last year, I do like the change that they did, where we did one event, like warm up, do an event, and then the open women went, and then we went back and forth. So we essentially only had to be there for maybe 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's a lot more efficient. It's maybe a little bit more work on the loaders and volunteers, but the way that they had the event set up and changing weights, like they were like a NASCAR crew out there. And I even seen Lynn in the hotel, and I said like, hey, like I, as an athlete, I really like this format. And he said he was really happy with the number of volunteers he had to be able to make those switches and changes. So I really like that. I only had to be there for a little bit of the day. I'm competing later because at home I train later. So I have more time to sleep, more time to get all my meals in. So I really like that change this year, and I hope they do it again next year.
Mm-hmm. Were you guys, so I'm assuming obviously you had a hotel. Were you working out just at a local gym nearby? Did they have a place, or were you guys working out at the facility? Or did you for warming up? Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, no, they had like in the back, they had all the equipment for warm-ups right before. So I would show up maybe an hour and a half before we were scheduled to start. Or I was at the hotel across the street at the Sheraton, and I was watching the live stream to see where they were and how fast they were progressing. And then just can kind of time that to head over and start warming up, gearing up, because I mean, 400 athletes, it makes for very long days. But if you know roughly when you're going to be there, it's actually really, really efficient.
Yeah. Well, and that was our first time ever being at a strongman competition, period. It just doesn't come to the Midwest, like, ever. So, like, we see stuff like Giants Live and stuff like that. When we heard there was 400 athletes, we're like, dude, this is going to be an actual nightmare. But it was so streamlined. I mean, it was just, like, super efficient. Lynn was laying down the law when it comes to people just, standing in the area, because we need to, the opposite sides to come in and go out was so good. It was 400 athletes. You would have never thought that they all competed over 3 days, and it was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really smooth.
Do you like the event choices?
I do. Yeah. It was a good test overall. And this year there was 7 events. I think last year there was only 6. So having 3 events in the finals, means a little bit more points up for grabs, and they just happened to be my best event. So I was really hoping, to first get to the finals and then go from there. They're unique, they're different. I don't know how they're going to try and top some of those events next year, but I really like the events. Some of them maybe didn't go quite exactly how I envisioned, but that's the sport, right?
Right. Yeah, I was wondering how were you. What were you thinking going into the comp in general? How did you think you were going to play out?
Well, the goal, the first goal was just to improve on my placing from last year. So last year I was 5th. So, I mean, realistically, I wanted to get 4th or better, but the goal was the podium,
of course,
because then that guarantees you a spot at Giants Live. and potentially World's Strongest Man invite, because it's not officially an invite to Worlds. It just happened that the past 2 years, the whole podium did get invited to World's Strongest Man.
Oh,
Now,
really? So it's not like official that happens that way.
it's not, yeah, it's not written in stone, but it just the past 2 years, the whole podium did get to Worlds. Now, I was reached out by Colin Bryce, like a month and a half away or a month out of Worlds this year to be a non-travel reserve, just because people kept getting injured because they had a max axle, so people were tearing biceps and getting hurt. So like I at least was on their radar last year. So then this year I just wanted to get a little better and to try and podium. And it was hard. It was a dogfight and way more competitive this year. There was like 50, 55 people actually competing this year. Last year there was 38. So a lot more competitive. There was 4 World's Strongest Man competitors being there.
Right.
And now I know a lot of these guys. I've competed against them at whether it was the Arnold at one time or the Shaw Classic or OSG last year. So I knew I had my work cut out, but yeah, this year I got 4th place and just missed out on the podium, but I'm still proud. I'm still proud. It's just
yeah, of course.
Still a little bittersweet because it's like that was the goal, and that's the first time, you know, I had a goal and I was vocal about it, and it came up a little short. But that's the sport. You got to roll with the punches. You got to take the lows with the highs and improve on it, and improve next year.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean you've climbed the ladder pretty freaking fast too.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like it wasn't. I mean,
2024 was a success. I mean,
absolutely, and how fast you moved up. I mean, I think like you were talking about Oscar beating or taking that Arnold's in 2020, and now you're above him. So I mean, you're definitely climbing the ladder pretty quickly, and I think that's something to be proud of. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely. And then even like earlier in the year, I got 2nd place at Canada's Strongest Man.
Right.
So a little bit better every year. That's all I can ask for. So that's the goal constantly, is just to get a little bit better.
Do you have a like when you think back on the years you've been competing? Do you have like a most memorable moment or a memorable event that kind of sticks in your head?
There's probably 2 from this year's Canada's Strongest Man. Well, I guess the Shaw Classic deadlifting the Hummer tire setup. That's just such an iconic lift, and there's only 2 of those bars in the world, right. And Brian has one of them. So I'm like, this is just an honor just to deadlift on this. Cool. And then this year at Canada's Strongest Man, we had a max deadlift, and JF doesn't allow suits up here, so we were doing it raw. It was with
JF's a monster. Bar. JF's such a monster.
Yeah, no suits, no figure eights. And
wow.
It was
well, that's why you guys are so
I know. All this Canada stuff is really just making sense to us, James. It's really just all making sense. JF's a madman. He's just trying to create actual Canadian freaks up there, and it's working. It's 100% working.
Yeah. And then there I pulled 900 raw, which I've only ever done before in a suit. And then JF has, for his Atlas stones, they're tiny little like pedestals. They're probably 6-inch rings, but they're 56 inches, and that's the height. They don't go down. That's the height. So from 310 to 425 pounds to a 56-inch platform that if you touch, it moves. So you have to like.
God.
They're the hardest pedestals in the world, and I finished them this year. I was the only guy to finish them this year, and
that's awesome.
In the past 4 years, only myself and Maxime have finished that run. So that was a pretty proud moment.
That's
super cool.
That's insane. I had no idea JF was just making your guys' lives hell up there for so long.
Yeah, it's not easy.
That is just crazy.
This Canadian invasion is starting to make more and more sense the longer we.
Dude, Brian's too nice down here in the U.S. Dude, we need somebody like JF
right.
who's just yes.
He's just gonna make it heavier. He makes it harder.
I know.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, we oftentimes talk about events and how like part of strongman seems to be like the unique changing in events and like the crazy wild stuff you can come up with, like Brian putting cars on leg presses and all that kind of fun stuff. Does that novelty still, like, does that help you? Or like, are you into that novelty of new weird events?
Yeah, I always like changing things up. Like the 1 year at CSM, he had a max backlift, which you like very, very rarely see. And warm ups was like, yeah, it was loaded to 1,800 pounds. It's like, okay, get under and just lift it. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I got the best back adjustment ever.
Oh my God.
And yeah, so that's an event you don't really see, but he has it set up on a trailer, just hauled it out on the rodeo grounds, and just, all right, let's see how heavy you guys can go.
I don't think I've ever heard of a max backlift, but now I need to see a max backlift. Like that's
and so if
good
it's
stuff.
it's on dirt then, right? Are you competing on dirt?
Yeah,
On the
yeah,
rodeo
CSM.
grounds.
Yeah, for 2 of the last 3 years, it's been just out on the rodeo dirt. For like the squat, it's like those big globes like they have done at Worlds, and you're just on a rubber mat in the dirt, so your feet are moving, shifting, banging out reps and
Oh my
sandbag
God.
carries, and your feet are sinking. Oh yeah, it's when we go to a show and you're inside and the climate is controlled, and you got rubber floors, and it's way easier to compete.
I was gonna say we're giving them flat ground. We shouldn't even be doing that. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Far too easy. Far too easy.
Or even like I just saw the clip the other day of like just simply when they do, you know, the Conan's wheel for World's Strongest Man in 2021 was a train. You're just Conan's wheeling a train. That's the stuff like that spectacle stuff. Is that like, yeah, does that make it more impressive to you guys? Do you enjoy that kind of stuff more? Or do you want it just to be, you know, just a Conan's wheel with a bucket of rocks? Like, does that do anything for you?
Yeah, I like if you can, include like equipment local to the area, like that train was set up there. That's kind of cool that they can utilize that. Or just events that are different that you have to come up with on the spot. You have to come up with technique and watch other guys go, and maybe the strongest man doesn't win, but the smartest man.
Yeah.
Where like at Westerns this year, we did an event where it was a Zercher into sandbag for reps, where I was the second last guy to go. And so I did the Zercher. Now everyone else dropped the Zercher, ran around it to load the sandbag. Well, I just dropped the Zercher and pushed it past the bag, and then boom, I was able to get one more rep just because I saved time. So it's that small little thing that if you can be a little bit smarter than your competitors, sometimes that pays off. And I like doing that. Or like natural stones, right? Everything's different.
Yeah.
Where you just got to figure it out on the spot. And I like that. I like that part of the sport.
Yeah, I mean, being smart is playing more of a role, you know, you would say than ever in Strongest Man. Like we talk about, Ben likes to claim he created it. The Mitchell Hooper era is now, okay? It is right. It is a little bit right now.
I didn't create it. He did.
Ben likes to create it. Well, he created it with him being who he is, but it's like, yeah, it's like Mitch is, I mean, the most tactical strongman I think I've ever seen out of ever. So it's
I think since Brian in like the late teens.
Right. And Mitch has taken it to, to the nth degree. He's become so dominant over, especially these last 2 years. It's like, do you enjoy, you talked about obviously enjoying the tactics of strongman. Are you a guy who asks a lot of questions pre-comp? Do you go into it like, obviously completely blind? What do you like how do you prefer to go into a comp like that?
Yeah, I really think that mentally, if you can, now I'm talking when you're facing your competitors, if you can beat them mentally, you've already almost won. And if we're in the rules meeting, and if I know someone's going to try something that will help them rather than me, I'm going to ask if that rule is allowed. And if it's not, then I kind of screwed him over, and I've done it before to my buddies. Or if I know it's something that I would give me an advantage and no one else has asked it, I'm not going to ask the rule, because it's just that little bit of an edge that you can get that. I like it. Being smart on the spot. I do like that. And for sure, I try to be smart and not let the other guys know that sometimes I can be smarter.
Yeah. I mean, especially as close as, as razor close as some of the competitions it's, you guys are competing in. If you're losing by half a point, it's simple things like that can change the entire score, everything.
Yeah, and I think, like Mitch said in multiple occasions, like, it's not he's doing it better. Like, there's no, it's not like, and we try to bridge the worlds between people that like follow strongman and people that don't. So sometimes we end up having to like some conflict there. And like one of those being when Mitch like would put like one weight on a power stair and then be done, or he'd put up one stone and be done.
But it's like the guy's like, 12 points ahead.
Right. But how do you feel about saving that event for, maybe injury chance or something?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like he is a businessman, and his body is his business, and so I do respect that. Because if I was making that much money, I would probably do the same thing.
Yeah,
You know,
dude,
yeah.
I'm making probably like $500,000 a year in prize money. I would probably do the same thing. Now, it's not the best for the fans, but I think the true diehard fans do know and do understand that.
Yes.
At the end of the day, anyone is just one injury away from never competing, but maybe never working again, or missing family time because you're due to an injury. So I do get that, and that's the fire we play with in the sport, unfortunately. So I do understand it, but yeah, of course, I'd like to see him finish everything as hard as he could, but
I know.
You know, I mean, I completely understand that. I like that. I like the business. This businessman and his body is his business. I mean, there's no real way to. And when laws tells you not to do something, you best not be doing it.
So true.
Do you have a? We talked to a few different people, but do you have an event that you don't believe should be in the mix as far as strongman's concerned? Because I know we didn't talk to him, but Evan Singleton has been pretty vocal about not liking. I think he doesn't like the toss, the over the back toss. So like, is there an event that you just don't feel like should be within the mix?
Yeah, 100%. It's the event that cost me my Westerns title this year is a front hold.
Sure.
Oh yes.
For one, I think it's boring. I think it's a very boring event. Holding up 50 pounds, 60 pounds for whatever, as long as you can. I mean, I get it because your shoulder strength, your shoulder power is a testament that you should be testing, but yeah, I came 15th place in that event, and like that's why I lost by half a point. So
right,
that's the one that I think it's just boring. That, or like even a crucifix hold sideways, I think it's just kind of a boring event. Everything else I'm pretty open to see, and I like new events, but yeah, I mean, having long arms, that's not a good
super
event,
disadvantage. Right? Yeah. When I think about it, like as talking from a casual, when you're like, the front hold is like a crazy good test of strength, but truly one of the more boring things you could ever see somebody do is and it doesn't last very long typically.
No.
So
well, I mean, we watched it like we started doing this because we grew up like watching strongman on TV with our dads and stuff, and like that, like the sword hold and the hammer hold and all that kind of stuff was like well entrenched at that point. Same thing with the Hercules hold.
Right, with the Hercules hold, if you're holding, Roman columns, you're going to make it a little more exciting for the human, that.
I mean, now that you mention it, though, I mean, it is like whistle blows and everyone just stops and stares at the person.
It is.
Like,
watch the man try not to break in front of us.
Yeah, that was kind of like the wrecking ball. It's like I've seen some people fall, and you're like just standing up there watching you guys go for the next 30 seconds. And you're like,
I know.
I
know.
Exactly,
there's just people literally passing out right next to you, and you're like,
dropped.
dude, if you drop that, I swear to be like, but my friend is right here dying, and you're like, don't worry about it. We're gonna get them back, I promise.
Yeah.
And then the passed out people will come back and then have to watch you continue to hold the ball.
I'm not trying to disrespect the spotters there, but there was a couple on those wrecking ball holds at OSG. I was a little bit worried about the size difference between like the spotter and the athlete. I was like, that dude goes down, that person's going with him. Like it's going to be
100%.
cracked in half on the bar. But
imagine spotting Bryce Johnson like 6'8".
Exactly.
They brought up the big guys for like when Bryce and stuff were up there. I'm like, okay, well,
but
thank
still,
God.
I mean, you better not go down.
Right. But even something like a wrecking ball hold, it's like, you got to make it, you have to make the wrecking ball fantastical for it to be like impressive to watch.
Yeah.
And I was like, OSGs, they had small balls. That's a ball joke. Granted, the guy who was hosting made far more many ball jokes. I mean,
all of the ball jokes.
We were all like, he like beat us to death with them all weekend, and we were like, oh man, that first one crushed, but it's been 48 hours. I mean, man, this guy's hammering them
ran out of balls
all weekend.
Yeah, it made it interesting. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine doing that job for that long.
No, when you got to talk that much, you got to give them something. And if it's ball and sack jokes for 72 hours, you just got to give it.
Just give them the balls.
just give them to them.
Do you on the opposite side of the spectrum? Do you have an event that you think is sort of, it might not be and maybe it's your favorite, but is sort of like the pinnacle of strongman,
or maybe one you love that's underutilized that we don't get to see very often.
Well, I've only ever done it once. Up in at CSM was like a Max Farmers carry it was 30 feet. It was a higher pick, but it's a real true test of your grip. And I don't know if I've ever seen that since, really. At any big competitions, I'd love to see like who really has some of the best grip. I know there's multiple guys that are capable of 500-pound plus farmers,
Hmm.
but they just don't get tested that much. Where it wouldn't ruin your body, like I know at the Arnold when they used to do a max style yoke, it was literally ruining people's career. So I mean, you got to try and find that fine line of
Yeah.
going heavy but not crippling people. Um, and then on bigger shows like OSG is definitely would be impossible to do like a truck pull or a vehicle pull, a plane pull. It's something that it's just an iconic event. Or when I tell people that I do strongman, and either they say, "Oh, do you pull trucks or do you lift those concrete balls
Right.
or stones?"
Right.
Right? So those
Yeah.
are the two that I've kind of found people say. It's like, yeah, I lift the Atlas stones or pull trucks or whatever. So um, yeah, the one I would like to see is maybe Max Farmers, just to see
Yeah.
where really some of these guys' grips really are.
Have you, James? Do you pull trucks? Do you have you pulled trucks in competition?
Oh yeah,
Damn right. He's a
yeah, we
mechanic.
did at North American. Was I got second in that event. It was, but you never know because sometimes it's either really light or really heavy, like it's unfinishable, and it can be the same truck, and it just comes down to what the ground is like. Is it an
Yeah.
incline, decline, full of holes? I've had one show this summer where it was so hot. It was a pro-am, and it was so hot that all the amateurs were going first, and it was like they were moving it like inches. I'm like, oh, this isn't good.
Oh
And
no.
then because it was so hot, the semi was sinking into the asphalt, so they couldn't even get it started. And then we talked to the promoter, and me
That's a
and my buddy
problem.
Tyler were like, well, like, do we restart it and move it over, or do we just
Right.
like let you and me go and try it? And then Tyler did it, and he finished it, so it's like, okay, it's doable. And then
Oh
I
my
did it, so it's
God.
doable, but it really showed the difference between the amateur guys and then the pro guys. Really, it is doable,
You pulled a
but it was
melted truck. You pulled a
yeah,
melting truck? That's incredible.
crushing
Melting
the
road.
asphalt.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So I mean, you've sort of on the cusp there, going into the going into this next wave of your career. Are there things you're doing differently now that you maybe weren't doing in 2021, 2020? Has your training changed, I guess is what I'm saying, since a couple years ago?
Um, I guess I think I got a coach in 2020. I don't know if I got him for 21 nationals, but my biggest change was that I got a coach. Before I was just kind of winging it. I found like a 531 program on Google, and then getting a coach. So I didn't have to. He one held me accountable, and then two, I could just go in the gym, look at the program. This is what I got to do. Get in and get out, and I was a lot more efficient with my time. So that was the biggest game changer. But one thing I'm going to do differently heading into next year, which I believe is what I need to do to get to the next level, is compete less. So I was a big advocate for competing lots when you're just getting into the sport and an amateur, because um, you need the experience, you need the competition experience. And if you're going to make a mistake, I'd rather make a mistake at a little local show where, okay, you lost out on a little trophy, than like losing at OSG based off of a mistake. So yeah, I ran my body pretty hard through those first years. So then next year, I just need to go back to the basics and just build my raw strength. So my deadlift is in a good spot, but my pressing and my squat, like just that foundation, I need to build. Uh, I just need to build it, because if I want to get to the next level, like you need minimum 400-pound log for reps. You need 800 squat for reps. So that's just where I really need to hammer on. Is my weakness is that just that base and my pressing power.
That makes
Sure.
sense. I mean, yeah, you're literally on the precipice of being right there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so close at this point. I mean, when did you're like a pretty active guy on like social media when it comes to like your YouTube and stuff like that. When did you start implementing stuff like that? Do you think exposure has been really good for your strongman career? Has it changed anything in your strongman career? What has social media kind of done for you, and has it helped or not?
Yeah, well, we're really proud with the progression of our YouTube. My wife does all the work. She I'm lifting this stuff anyways, so she's there filming, editing, putting it on YouTube. And yeah, so we're really happy that we just crossed over 1,000 subscribers,
Yeah,
just
that's
became
awesome.
monetized. So, we got a membership package that we're still trying to work out the details and the specifics of that. And we actually just did like a live stream deadlift attempt that I tried to go for a new deadlift PR, and I didn't quite get it. I was probably not recovered from OSG, but
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
definitely not. But no, you look at all the top guys, and they make a living off of it now.
Yeah.
So I know I'm a long, long ways away from that, but we always wanted to film our journey from the start. Like
Yeah.
so many guys, they already have the channel. They're already World's Strongest Man. They're already Brian Shaw. They're Eddie Hall. They got millions of followers, but like no one has captured it from the beginning, and that's
Yes.
where we started. We started our YouTube like 2 years ago or something, and I was just a nobody, and I'm still working towards being somebody. But if we could capture the journey along the way, I love to see the progression, and then
Yeah.
down the road, hey, look, my dad used to be Western Canada's Strongest Man. Well, here's a video.
Right. Yeah, it's like, I mean, from coming from us, I mean, 1,000 subscribers is incredible. I think, I forget if we have 14 or 22.
No, it's less than that.
22. We have 22 subscribers, James. Okay, so we're the real deal. Okay,
Yeah,
we're also getting in from ground level.
Well, yeah, from just a different beginning.
Yeah, and this is our beginning. Okay, now in 2 years, hopefully, we will cry if we get 1,000 subscribers. So like, it's incredible. Again, like you said, it's being in the niche area that we're in. It's like there's no casual fans. Like we enjoy strongman and we love grip sports and we love arm wrestling, but like we barely could do any of that ourselves. Honest, we're just passionate fans, passionate people about the sport, and want to bring more people to the sport. So it's like starting from 0 to 1,000 is, I mean, that's exactly where we would love to be. So it's congratulations to you and your wife. She does an incredible job on the videos. So I mean, yeah, you're doing us a massive favor. It was super cool to see you, obviously, over the competition. So to be with you now is we're honored to be with you, James. We really appreciate it.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. Yeah, that's just I did a podcast recently with Nick Camby, and it's just about bringing eyes to the sport. The more people we can reach out, the more fans that can get involved with the sport. You can get pay-per-views or like sign up an account for Official Strongman to get you the Giants Live access. So like, all that money goes back to the sport, back towards the athletes. So it's just about spreading the word, because there's still a lot of people you go to and they don't really know that there's strongman in Saskatchewan, in Canada, and it's the more eyes we can get on it, the better, for sure.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, we were lucky enough to do an interview with Nick Best at OSG. And so like being able to talk to him about his sort of growth on social media and all that was really helpful and really cool to sit down with him as well. But I think that is like, we talk about basically with everybody that, like strongman is this sort of like, I don't know if it's not like a fraternity, but it is like this niche, group of people who, very dedicated athletes, very dedicated people, very close to those athletes. But, you get a little bit farther away and there's not a whole lot, there. Like when we went to OSG, we were like, I mean, probably the few that were not like related to or knew somebody competing.
Yeah, we were like actual fans there that just weren't associated with the 400 athletes. I mean, there was more athletes than people in attendance, but that's fine.
Yeah.
It was.
I do think that's changing though, and I think that Do you have any ideas about what you think could help bring the sport to those that don't know about it?
I think honestly, just what you guys are doing, what other people doing podcasts are doing, and even us athletes just going on these calls, going on the podcast, talking about it, sharing it, spreading the word. Because if I have 1,000 subscribers, the next guy has 1,000 and 2,000. Next thing you know, we got 4 more thousand people watching about this, commenting on it. Everyone watches videos or they watch content, but they don't leave a comment. Well, it's like that's all it takes is just try and catch that algorithm a little bit.
Yes.
Every little bit helps, and it's not difficult to do. So it's just spreading the word.
Yeah. Even if you guys literally could say you guys are terrible and suck, that still helps.
It all helps.
It still helps.
Yeah.
I swear to God, please. If we suck, please comment that, because that'll help the algorithm. We need that.
One of the only comments we have is someone making fun of my laugh. So I mean, that's the internet for
it's
you,
mostly,
I guess. But
yeah, I mean, and social media is tough because at the start, especially too, it's just. it's just all fake accounts that are like communicating with you. You're like, very, very good stuff, or like ask you a question that's completely not related to anything that's going on. And it's like, thank you for your service. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate everything that you're saying. But it's, yeah, everything counts. The algorithm is a beast in itself, and it's hard to figure out, but it can be.
Yeah.
It can be tamed.
Yeah. Bit of a tangent. Yeah. So, well, thank you very much for doing this. We appreciate it. Was there anything you wanted to add at the end?
Or I had one more question, James.
Oh,
so
okay.
what's the start of your season going to be like for next year? What's your first comp? Because obviously you're taking it less next year. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess that all kind of depends. Because last year, fourth place from OSG did get invited to World's Strongest Man. Mind you, Foy2 did do Europe's Strongest Man. So I mean, I'm not holding my breath, but I'm staying hopeful that maybe I could be thought as maybe a potential reserve for World's Strongest Man, even though that's not been said anywhere or vocalized anywhere. But I will be ready if that's the case. Who knows? I'll probably even maybe train the events as if I was going, just because it wouldn't hurt to be ready. So that would be maybe potentially the first competition. But then other than that, we have a qualifying system to get to CSM. So I have to do Western Canada Strongest Man. Excuse me. And if you have to podium there, and then that qualifies you for Canada Strongest Man. And then if you're top 6, that qualifies you for North America Strongest Man. So I believe Westerns next year is in June. But I honestly won't really prep for that because my mistake this year is I prepped like 14 weeks for that show.
Oh man.
And I only lost by half a point. I really didn't need to put that much time towards it, where I should have been prepping for the Shaw Open, because the Shaw Open will get you to Strongest Man on Earth. So next year I will be focusing on the Shaw Classic Open. I already qualified because I was top 10 this year, so I don't need to do any qualifiers for it. And that will be like my first big competition that I'm really going to be prepping for next year. So I got lots of time in this off season to build my pressing, build my squat, build my base, and North America Strongest Man again, because like I said, I don't know who's coming from the States, but we'll be ready. It's going to be competitive. So where that could lead you, you don't know. So if you have a good performance there, promoters will be looking. And then Canada Strongest Man again. And I know I said I was going to compete less, but that's already like 4
it's
or
like
5.
how many comps is that? It was like 5 comps. He's like, that's the first 6 months, and then it's fine. I don't have that many after that. Don't worry.
And then at the end of the year, again, OSG. That will be another solid prep for that. I qualified already for being in the finals. So all I need to do is get one spot better, really, is all I need. But I think I'm at the point now where, I'd like to win it next year. So it all comes down to the events. But once they announce it, I'll be prepping hard, and I know everyone else will be. So that's what makes for good competition. So those 100%. Are the main biggest ones would be Shaw Open, North Americans, and OSG for sure.
Awesome. We'll be rooting for you, James.
Yeah,
absolutely. You're right there. So we're hoping you get where you want, man. We super appreciate your time, James.
No, thank you very much, and I enjoyed talking to you guys, and looking forward to see who you guys bring on next. So that's always a cool thing to see with these podcasts. Yeah. So appreciate it.
Thanks again, James. This has been the Strong Casuals, as you all know. If you're gripping,
we're talking.